This is my BMW 335i. I have owned it now for 10 years and later this month it will be 11. It's been full bolt-on, E40 fuel, and tracked harder than most people's weekend cars. I daily drove it, I commuted 2 hours one way to get to work in it, I autocrossed it, I drifted it, I road raced it, half-mile racing. I even drove for Uber in it, which was probably the most abusive thing I ever did to this car. This is not just a story about owning a used BMW. This is the story of owning a heavily modified, tracked turbo BMW for over 10 years and refusing to let it die. I bought this car in February of 2015 from Long Beach BMW as a CPO car with just over 30,000 miles. I was the second owner. My budget was to stay under 30 grand and I wanted a manual. However, I looked for weeks and I just could not find one CPO. Eventually I just needed a car and reality won. This one was on the lot for 28 grand. There was also a blue 335is. Oh, that was so nice, but it was already way over budget. It was like 34 grand. So I bought the cheaper one and then immediately made worse financial decisions. An important detail is that this car has an N55, not an N54. Since the day I bought the car, my plan was to modify it. It wasn't eventually modified. I was modifying it from day one. And most importantly, it's been full bolt-on, stage 2 plus, E40 fuel for the entirety of the 10 years plus that I've owned it. At my peak, I was doing like 10 to 15 HPDE events a year, starting off with autocross and then moving on to road racing, then drifting, then half-mile events. I was doing it all. And then I'd drive home in traffic with the AC on and go to work the next morning in the same car. This wasn't a garage queen. This was a commuter, a track car, and occasionally a source of income. BMWs don't just explode. They slowly start to leak oil from places you never even knew existed. Most of what people call unreliable about this car is actually predictable wear. Things like cooling system, gaskets, rubber, electronics. However, this engine never blew up, never spun a bearing. It never just exploded because I turned left. Quite the contrary, despite all the abuse that I did to this car and this engine. And then people say online that there is oil starvation issues and they were going 5 miles an hour, and when they turned left, the car spun a bearing because oil starvation. In all my experience of tracking this car over 10 years, it has been nothing but reliable. I've never left the track, not under my own power. Drove back from the track every single time, never towed the car, never trailered the car once. It's literally been pretty much the exact opposite of what most people say online about the N55 and the 335 platform in general, that they can't be reliable track cars. They just can't be reliable anything in any sense. Could it happen? Of course it could happen. Oil starvation could happen on any engine that doesn't have a dry sump lubrication system, which is 99% of them. This car has been nothing but reliable given the circumstances of how hard I've actually driven it for over 10 years. Now, what this car will demand from you is constant attention. You can't track a BMW long term. Well, this is just a flat out lie. You absolutely can. You just have to accept the reality. There is going to be associated costs, a lot of them. You're going to go through brakes, you're going to go through tires, you're going to go through radiators, you're going to go through water pumps, you're going to go through a bunch of shit. You'll either replace things preventatively or you'll pay the cost later. One way or the other, you're going to pay for it. It's a pay to play game. Oil cooling, good pads, a solid alignment, good suspension will all go a very long way. And these are investments that every person must make that wants to seriously take their car to the racetrack on a regular basis. BMW 335i loves the racetrack actually, but if you defer maintenance, then it won't. If you stay up to date with the maintenance on this car, there's absolutely no reason why you can't track it long term. It's just gonna cost a lot. As simple as that. Modified cars are unreliable. Another thing that's just flat out wrong, like I said, I've literally had this car, Stage 2 Plus, E40 fuel, the entire time I've owned it, for over 10 years. None of those mods ever killed the car or caused the car to die. Life circumstances certainly almost ended my ownership. There was a period that this car sat dead because I couldn't afford to replace the high pressure fuel pump. But that wasn't a BMW reliability issue, that was just life. And once I fixed that one thing, the car went right back to being abused and running perfectly, just as it had before. Let's talk about money, because this is usually where most people stop watching or finally learn something. The cash price on this car came out to be just about $30,000. My monthly payment was about $294, and then with the warranty and maintenance add-ons, it jumped up to be about $420. I later refinanced to about $300 a month. And I want to be clear about something right away. That extended warranty absolutely saved me early on. Water pump, thermostat, radiator, alternator, drive belts, oil filter housing gasket. These were all things that were replaced under warranty. They actually happened. If I had paid out of pocket for everything that the dealer covered during that time, we'd be having a very different conversation. After the warranty ended though, reality set in. Dealing with the high pressure fuel pump was a big expense. Battery, replacing the starter, then towing, then the cooling system. Again, that's where I spent about $6,000 or $7,000 of my own money in repairs and maintenance over the years. Then there's the little stuff that no one talks about, like the little hoses that break and coil packs and spark plugs and alignments, replacing the front glass, brake pads, rotors, you name it. Nothing catastrophic ever, but just demanding constant attention. Now this part matters. Modifications are not ownership costs, so I don't even consider those things related in any way, because doing all that was completely a personal choice, and turning this 335 into a track capable car cost money, and I did it on purpose. If I were to add everything up, that means purchase cost, maintenance, repairs, and modifications, then the total, I've got about $68,000 put into this car over 10 years. Now that number may sound insane until you break it down. That's about $5,600 a year or $470 a month for a 460 wheel torque 335i that I daily drove, tracked, and refused to give up on. That cost isn't cheap, but it's not the financial apocalypse that the internet pretends it is. Was it worth it? Was this a smart financial decision? Absolutely not. No. But this car taught me so many things, and most importantly, how to drive a car hard. And as corny as it sounds, the relationships made along the way are really what made the experience even more enjoyable. And those really are priceless. Every time I considered selling it, I just couldn't really think of a way that I could replace what it felt like. Long-term modified turbo BMW ownership is not about reliability. It's about commitment. It's a full-time relationship. It's a lifestyle. And most people, they're just not cut out for that. This is a fact. And if you're not ready to drop some dollars, then this is definitely not for you. That's just how it is.